Hello, everyone. Welcome into this week's episode of Entertainment Expansion. We are your hosts, Tyler Callahan and Mike Ferrante. Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing just swell now that we can finally say it's been years, probably about 40 years since we got, a good Predator movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. We, of course, are talking about the latest Predator movie called Prey. Quick shout out. I appreciate Dan Trachtenberg, the director, for calling this something other than Predator, Predator, Predator 2, Predators, the Predator. For a franchise now that's 5 films deep, assuming you don't include Alien vs. Predator, not really imaginative with the titles.
No, but I mean, when you got such a lovable character like Predator, you don't really need to.
I'm just saying, if it's like, Disney and Hulu are trying to get people excited about get new people into the Predator franchise, and they see all these films on Hulu, it's like the only way they can tell is by the year date. But again, we're here talking about Prey. Dan Trachtenberg, obviously from 10 Cloverfield Lane fame, and was to be at some point the director for Uncharted, has made Prey, which thankfully has wiped away, at least for me, the bad taste in my mouth from The Predator back in, I think, 2018 or 2019. So it's been a couple years. The franchise has been in hibernation, due in part to the Fox Disney buyout. But it's here. It's on Hulu, streaming only.
It was worth the wait.
Definitely worth the wait. Case in point, because I don't think we really had high expectations for this film to begin with.
Nope.
I expected a half decent film because the director's good, but
You never
turns
know.
out it's a great film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It takes itself very seriously.
but it works.
Yes. It is probably by far the best iteration of really feeling what the Predator is like since the first one. Because he's a hunter, he's a scary guy, but we never really see like the start of when they really started to come to Earth, and this kind of shows it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He is a different variation of Predator, so if you're looking for the classic Freddy look, you're not going to see it here.
But that's Gold Mask, though. Nice design.
It was very primitive. He still has higher tech weaponry than any civilization in the U.S. history at that point, but it's still primitive even for the Predator culture.
Yeah, because even they are 300 years. Again, this takes place in the early to mid 1700s. We're talking America, Native Americans. So, like, even if
I believe it's 1718, something like that.
Yeah. So even for Predators, like, which is funny, is like the tech is a bit primitive, but still got the fancy high tech spaceships that can go across planets.
Yeah, there's still higher tech than us. It's just their killing devices are definitely lower tech than they used to be. Case in point, the wrist gauntlet.
The wrist gauntlet. I also thought the shield he used at one point in the battle with the French, I thought was a little like old fashioned kind of thing. Like I feel like a modern Predator wouldn't use that.
Yes, I can agree with that, but in the same sense, kind of makes sense, at least in my mind.
Okay.
Because their armor isn't that upgraded yet, and he is a lower ranking Predator, definitely.
Well, let's talk about lower ranking. The director confirmed this, but you can see this throughout the film. This is the Predator's first hunt.
Yes.
And with no words, Trachtenberg is able to tell the story of the Predator on his first hunt. You see a great over throughout the film, at least the first half of the film until he gets to humans. It's like snake, wolf, bear. Like he moves up on the kill chain, kind of like is this the stronger Predator on this planet? It's like, oh, okay, I think I got it. Then he sees the wolf, like, no, this is the strongest Predator on the planet. He's like, oh, there's a bear now. All right, let me go.
Yeah, he's really feeling things out, which is kind of cool to see. Like, what is the most dangerous game on this planet? And that's what he's trying to find out. Because he didn't really take the snake skull.
No. I mean, did you see the bear skull with him toward the end? Because he took the wolf skull. That was noticeable.
Yeah, I didn't see the bear skull, but talking about the bear, that was an epic fucking fight.
Yeah.
I never thought I needed to see the Predator fist fight a fucking bear. Like he ended up using his OG wrist blades, which were still badass, on the wolf to dismember it, which was also a very cool shot. But with the bear, he just fucked that thing up. Hand-to-hand combat. The bear did get some good licks in though.
They did, yeah. It was a bite. Was a bite at the leg they got in.
He got bite on the side, the legs.
Mm-hmm.
The wolf got him in the arm and leg, I think. But the bear, I think, did the most damage. But let's not do too much discredit because there was a lot of solid character in this franchise or this film. I should say. I don't want to just say franchise.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the star of the show, Naro, right, the Native American girl who, again, and I think part of this film, the way it works is you're seeing the predator's first hunt and how he reacts to everything he sees. Naro is pushing herself to go on her first hunt to become a proper warrior for the Native American tribe, and then obviously you have a brother, who's a very skilled,
badass.
When we get to him versus Predator, I have issues with the Predator in that fight, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. But I think Dan Trachtenberg did a good job of like clearly doing the setting of this is Native American land setting, and you can even see like even like just like the war chief and how the other men, no, not the war chief, but the other men on hunts, they don't treat Nara with respect. She should be getting the medical stuff with all the other women, and
she should be gathering, not hunting. And because this is more in the time where the term hunter and gatherer really was
exactly
in effect.
She's meant to be a gatherer. She wants to be a hunter. Is the conflict anything new? No, but considering we don't have a lot of Native American films really in the past few years, this was something fresh. I appreciate it. Yeah.
By far, just a terrific film.
Mm-hmm.
It is a little bit slower paced.
Yeah, it is.
But you're not really bored by the slower pace. I think the pacing, despite it being slower, isn't bad. Like it's not a nonstop quick action fest like The Predator, which was a total shit show.
Honestly, if you just had the Native American characters not talk, this could have been a silent film.
Yeah.
Like at times there really is good chunks of time where there's just no dialogue being said.
Agreed. One
thing I do want to, like, I think it worked for the tension of the film.
One thing I do want to give this movie a lot of props for is the fact that there was a good boy on set.
Yes.
He was a nice mutt. And they did a great job giving me anxiety. Thinking, when is he gonna go? When is Preddy taking him?
Well, the first 30 minutes, like, all right, this dog is too good, too pure. He's gonna die at some point. He has to.
Yep, you can just feel it. Because the dog leads the bear away from Naro, like, and you're just like, no, please don't.
Too smart for your own good.
So you think the wolf might get him, but the wolf doesn't get him. It takes you through a roller coaster of emotions. Then even in like the final fight with Freddy, you're like, oh, all right, God, don't do it, and they don't.
They don't.
The goodest boy makes it out alive,
which I think is good because like at this point, I think the main death of the film is Tabe. So I think at that point, with him doing sacrifice, there's no point in adding in. Well, then her dog dies too. It's like, all right, at this point, the stakes are pretty much set. I guess we should quickly talk about the French. I thought it was interesting they didn't care to translate what they said. You can, obviously, with their hand motions, you can kind of get the idea of what they were talking about. But I did find that interesting that they're like, nah, you don't need to know.
Also, I do want to give this movie credit for showing how brutal the foreign hunters were to the American buffalo.
Can I just say, after this movie, fuck bear traps.
Oh yeah. But at the same time, we'll get into this more later. I also like the fact that there's bear traps in this movie because of one scene. But let's get into the deeper action bits.
All right.
In a second here.
All right. Main action bit. Obviously, I think, at least for me, I don't know about yourself, best fight scene, Tabe versus Naro. Not Naro, the Predator. Or you could say Tabe and Naro versus Predator. But to be fair, for that fight, she's mostly trying to load up the pistol.
Yeah, and figure out how to use that.
Tabe almost 1v1 that predator, and
He was
that predator
fucking
is
him
such
up.
a bitch for going invisible at that time. Oh, you had
Yup.
no problem with respect when you're fighting him one-on-one, but as soon as you start getting your ass kicked, no, you can't see me now.
Well, predators never really did play fair if you think about it.
No, they didn't. And I
It's
think a good
a
thing with
species
this
thing.
predator on the journey is that you can see throughout the film as he gets more and more hits in, like he takes more hits from either the bear or the humans, he starts to become more of an asshole.
Oh yeah.
If you notice with the snake, he was very gentle, very quiet, only struck when needed. The bear is like, all right, fine, you got to hit it too. I'm going to beat you up. But then when it comes to Tabe and like the French, like he just doesn't give a fuck.
Well, I kind of like that he didn't give a fuck with the French because that.
No, I know, but it shows how careless he's getting. You can tell he's not
Well,
seasoned. He is new.
he's new, but he was also getting cocky when
Mm-hmm.
no problem. I think this predator, despite the lack of technology, he might have been one of the most badass predators we've seen.
Oh no, he's definitely badass in some scenes, but like you can definitely
Not-
see his cockiness compared
Oh,
to
yeah.
other predators.
Especially in the trapper fight scene,
Mhm.
when he was just going off on them. He was using their own tomahawks against them. He deflected a bullet off his helmet straight into the guy who shot him at point blank.
He was even
And then
challenging him to shoot him. Like, come on,
No,
come
yeah.
on, do it.
And then let's not forget about, if we're going to talk about, let's talk about this. The fact that he kicks up the bear trap and throws it and hits a guy right in the face with it. Like, that was just utterly badass.
I guess one upside for this being on streaming and not have to worry about, well, it has to be PG-13 theaters to get more audience. Like, nah, it's streaming, rated R, let's show a bit of gore.
Oh, and they did.
Yeah, they did.
They did not disappoint.
But I'm just
And
saying, like, let's compare this to the Predator from the first film. That Predator acted more like the Terminator in precision, being like very focused on the mission, in the hunt, and not being distracted or cocky enough. Now obviously he was an asshole at the end of trying to, do a little suicide bombing with Arnie, but that was the last 5 minutes of the film. This guy, this Predator halfway through, you can definitely tell he's careless, cocky, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, because we are a primitive species to them.
Yeah.
Despite how far we've come. And I think that's why he took it more easy on the native tribe, because they were even more primitive than the French trappers. They didn't have projectiles, they had bows and arrows and tomahawks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he didn't credit them as much of a threat.
His mistake.
Oh, absolutely. Spoiler alert, Freddy dies.
What?
Yeah, that Freddy going invisible mode was the biggest bitch move. That kind of annoyed me too. I was like, really, man? Really? You could have killed him without going invisible. You could have.
Mm-hmm.
But you wanted to take the cheap, easy way out. I get it.
But even like Tabe is such a badass. Like he even knew once he went invisible.
Oh yeah.
He told Naruto to go because he even knew he was behind him.
Yep.
He knew he was.
He knew exactly what was going to happen. He was like, yeah, okay, this is how it's going to play out. But I mean, that was her driving force to finalize her first hunt, really.
It was, and I do like all the elements we see throughout the film. They come back for the final fight. The I don't want to say quicksand, but like the quick mud, right? The sinking pit.
Yeah.
The rocks, planning everything out. Like there's like it felt very reminiscent to the first Predator film, with Arnie setting up the jungle and setting up the traps and having everything ready. And it's a great
Except
updated version of it.
That Freddy didn't fall for those traps.
No, but again, that one was smarter.
Yeah, more advanced and definitely learned from other hunts.
This Predator, so careless, gets half his arm chopped off.
Yeah, she set him up a bunch of times. Little bit dumb that the Predator's wrist gauntlet that actually shoots out the projectile only works through tracking from his helmet.
Yeah.
Not really sure how I feel about that.
Like, I'm willing to let it go because the movie's great, but it's kind of weird the way everything was set up so that he was in the pit and the helmet in the corner lined up, so when he fires it, it blows him off.
Yeah. Just a little odd that would be their technology. And the fact that he would even attempt to use the wrist gauntlet. Sorry, the wrist launcher, I'm going to call it. the fact that he would try to use that even without his helmet, because the thing's just going to go wherever the helmet's looking. So why are you even
Yeah.
going for it?
Well, actually,
you don't have
we
the
do have to
helmet.
remember. We do have to remember. He was shot in the head with the pistol from Nar, so he's not thinking clearly.
No, he's probably pissed too.
Well, yeah, he had a chunk of his brain cut off. He's now lost an arm. He is probably delusional to some degree. So he's probably like, whatever.
That definitely
Like he's
didn't
not
work out
thinking
for him.
the best.
No.
But yeah, no, Naru, definitely a badass at the end, especially with the French dude, right? Using the predator to kill him is like, that's cold.
Set him up. I like how she left the rifle out there
Mhm.
completely empty. So this way Predator would deem him as a threat. Oh, it worked so well. But that's kind of
yeah.
the nice thing. Everything comes full circle in the end.
It does. I definitely think it's a great movie, and I really do hope it does well on Hulu. I hope that, and Disney Plus, if you're international, should mention it's on Disney Plus if you're anywhere but the United States. And if you're in America, it's Hulu. But I really hope Dan Rattenberg, or not if he comes back, Disney has a golden opportunity here to build up the Predator franchise as an anthology series of just dropping a Predator, just different time periods, different locations.
Yep.
Like no like overarching story like Marvel or Star Wars, just boom, Predator Samurais, Predator World War One, Predator in some, the Crusades, some European conflict. Like you can switch up the weaponry, you can switch up like if they're in the 1800s, 1900s, what's their tech then, right? Like you can because this works perfectly.
This opens the door. It's still the same continuity of the franchise, but you're not muddling it up with continuous characters.
Exactly.
Which I think works beautifully, in my opinion.
Like the previous films, they clearly lay it out. They've been hunting for centuries, so why not show a couple more of those hunts? That's it.
Yep, I agree wholeheartedly.
So
I think this is a dumb question. Tyler, do you recommend watching this film?
Well, it's a hard choice. Yeah, actually, I do. It's a fantastic movie. For me, at a minimum, it matches as good as the first one, if not maybe even possibly slightly better than the first one. So if you have ever watched the first Predator movie, this is the sequel you have been waiting 30 years for. This is it.
You know what? I couldn't agree more. I wholeheartedly think this is an awesome film. And I'm kind of on par with you that it is at minimum as good as the first one with Arnold. But if you take out the cheesy 80s action style, I think this is an overall better film.
Yeah.
But as always, these are only our thoughts about this movie. Have you guys checked out Prey? If not, what are you waiting for? Tell us what you thought about it. As always, tell us that Entertainment Expansion. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. As always, thanks for listening.